So I was always pretty diverse and and grew up kind of liking the difference, so to speak, you know.
I have to dedicate just as many hours after my 9 to 5 because this is my passion.
Farming is just a different business than anything else, I think. And there's no set hours. It's definitely not a 9 to 5 job at all.
So I started Slutty Vegan in my 2-bedroom apartment. It ended up being a worldwide phenomenon.
My passion for it kind of started early on a screaming descent.
In today's episode of Passionate Pursuits, we visit Monica Brown. She is the Vice President of Digital Product Development and Program Management at Sirius XM Pandora and is a true pioneer for female executives in the tech field. Her passion for STEM education is motivating and inspiring, and we get a first-hand look at what drives her passion.
So I am the Vice President within the Digital Product Development Organization. My role is specifically around program management, portfolio management, and prioritization. So really any new functionality from a technology perspective, all the work that the tech organization is doing, I have to make sure that I'm tracking that work and make sure that it's prioritized so we understand what work is really going to fit into the long-term plan as far as strategically where we want to position ourselves as a company. So anything that comes through, new suggestions, new product features, new development to the app, that has to go through a process of actually being approved, and I pretty much manage that entire portfolio of how that process works and what gets approved. How do you get into a field like this? Well, you kind of stumble into it. Sometimes, but that's what happened to me, because actually I went to school to be a full-time journalist. I wanted to do the news, I wanted to be the next Oprah. So when Oprah took my job, I had to find something else to do, right? But I started out here in Atlanta actually working for the Atlanta Olympic Broadcasting Group because the 1996 Olympics were coming here. And because I graduated from an historically black university, which is South Carolina State University, there was a program that they were looking for minority students to participate in the Olympics from a technology perspective. So I applied for the program, I got accepted, and moved here in 1995 to work for the Atlanta Olympic Broadcasting Group, which directly aligned with my journalism aspirations at that time. So worked at the Georgia Aquatic Center, and then after that tried to figure out what was next. Picked up a job at Upscale Magazine as the administrative assistant and editorial assistant, and then that was only paying me like a little bit of money. You know, as a single parent, I had a child to take care of, so started exploring other options. Ran into a friend who was in the technology field who told me that I could take my writing skills into the tech field. So after some massaging of the resume, was actually able to pick up a job as a technical writer, and working for IBM Global Services was my first role. So once I learned about the technology field and some other, positions that I could take, I started to migrate my skill set towards those things. Ended up in project management, stayed in project management for years, and then the past 8 years or so started, looking into leadership and growing my leadership career. So took my first leadership role in 2012, and here I am. 7 years later, here I am. Hey, how y'all doing? Hey, wave at the camera.
In 2019, Pandora and Sirius XM merged, making the company the largest audio entertainment company in the world. Monica is enjoying the fruits of that merger and incorporating a culture of change and ingenuity.
What's in Monica's playlist? Everything. So this morning I was listening to old school rap. I had to get my Running Man on, okay? Nobody will ever see that footage. I just want y'all to know that. But I listened to one of my friends this weekend on the trip to Florida, turned me on to Megan Thee Stallion. Oh my God. I had never even heard of that before, but that is different. And then, I turn around and listen to somebody like Lady Gaga or John Mayer in the morning. Or then I turn and listen to, my old school R&B that has like Sherelle and, artists like that. Ain't nothing going on but the rent. You got to have a job if you want to be, like all of those things. And then, you turn around and I got to listen to some Migos or some Cardi B. So it goes back and forth. But But I have an extensive playlist, and it spans from Hall & Oates to, you know, if I need a little bit of, you know, old school Florida music in the morning. It just depends. But music is what kind of creates the mood for a lot of people. It's emotional because you hear a song and you think about a person, or you hear a song and you think about an incident or, you know, a school trip. And those things stay with you once you hear the music. And I think that's where Pandora is really beyond just being a music or digital company. We actually evoke emotion. We help to, you know, shape the moments of your life, and being able to do that through music and being able to do that through a streaming platform. I mean, we actually help people with those memories, and that is a phenomenal place to be. Great and exciting things, right? So February 1st, 2019, we were officially acquired by Sirius XM. So now the company is officially Sirius XM Pandora. And with that acquisition, it made us one of the largest global streaming content digital music companies in the world. At this point, we have access to podcasts, you know, with the likeness of Kevin Hart. We have music from all genres, all aspects of music, and that combination of the two just made it, you know, a perfect marriage. So right now, strategically, as I was saying before, we're looking at how we can now merge those two worlds and really be able to offer our consumers the most robust and most entertaining digital audio content music streaming experience, leap years and light years above our competition.
A native of South Carolina and graduate of South Carolina State, Monica is a STEM advocate and uses her platform to enrich the next generation.
What drives me? There's so many things that drive me. I like to see new things come to light. So being a part of the process where I can actually see an idea, hear an idea, understand what that idea is supposed to do, and follow it through the development cycle and be able to actually see it go out and have people, you know, physically use something that you have been a part of is extremely gratifying. The other thing that drives me is my family. I take care of my mom currently. I have 2 daughters. Being a single parent, you know, you just get that little extra drive because, you know, if I don't work, nobody eats at this point. And since I am the sole person that's really responsible for everything in the family, I mean, that alone is a huge driver in itself. So, and I think the third thing would be just self-motivation. Once you reach one, you know, step, it's another one that's right in front of it. I like to try to figure out how to get to that next step. So there's never really a definition of done, if you will, in my eyes. STEM/STEAM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And then a lot of now arts, the arts is a part of that, which is what makes it STEAM. But STEM has always been a very, very passionate part of my life because I've been in IT since the mid-90s. And being in IT and understanding that our children, especially those in more underprivileged areas, really don't get the exposure to STEM jobs, STEM training, STEM camps, because a lot of those things are extremely expensive. So I've taken it upon myself to become more of a speaker about STEM advocacy and being able to support those programs in the areas where the children can get training and really be able to take those skills when they graduate and turn that into a lucrative job that they can then, you know, live on and thrive on. But STEM is something that is in everything. STEM is in medical, STEM is in music, STEM is in retail, STEM is in the trucking business, STEM, I mean, you name it, somebody is actually doing something through an app or through their laptop. There is no way anybody coming up in this day and time will not have to be tied to some sort of science that's related to technology, engineering, or math. All of that goes together, and we have to be able to prepare our future students, our future kids, our future doctors, lawyers, to be able to embrace STEM as a part of their career. So there's a huge gap with children today, especially, and I've emphasized in the underprivileged areas, that have that exposure. And it's hard for somebody to gravitate towards a certain job or career if they don't know anything about it. So creating that exposure, being able to say, here, you may not know that this is actually an engineering job, but look what you can build. Graphic design, computer design, even the technology and the cameras, like all of these things have some sort of technology aspect. We need to expose our kids to that so they can continue the work that we're doing, because we're not going to be here. They're the ones that are going to really take the future, and we have to prepare them to be able to do that. So I'm a huge STEM advocate. I've mentored a lot of people, still mentoring, and really am passionate about making sure that I do my part to give back, to make sure that everybody else around me is impacted by, you know, that thought. I think if I could talk to my younger self, I would tell myself to focus more on financial management. I would tell myself to be more focused on career and skill development, and I would tell myself to be a little more forgiving of myself as far as mistakes. Because I think early on I was so focused on trying to do things right that I did so many things wrong, you know, trying to get to that point of what's right. And, you know, mentally and emotionally being a single parent, you tend to take the bulk of that responsibility onto yourself. So I would definitely say to myself, be more forgiving and understand that mistakes happen, but you turn those mistakes into something positive. And even though I didn't know what I was doing, that's what I was doing back then, but I was so hard on myself because I was really trying to make sure that everything was done and I was able to provide for my family. And, you know, just like, you should have done this and you should have done that, and why didn't you do it this way? Things happen for a reason, and those things that happen were literally building blocks to put me in the position where I am today. So I would absolutely be more forgiving to my younger self, but definitely more focused on financial and career management.
Streaming technology has created a fast-paced culture, and Monica is at the helm of the culture shift.
Hey, I'm working, y'all know. So here is one of our recent murals that was just put up. Actually, this is a complete tribute to the ATL music scene, and we're all ATLians, thanks to Outkast, and this is the way that we stay connected from an office perspective to the culture here locally, as well as making sure we pay tribute to all of the artists who contributed here in the Atlanta area. One of my absolute favorite murals, and it really brings a lot of color, and it also just keeps us connected to the music scenes. We are going through here. So this floor, the team here, this is the team that's really the engineers, the Android developers, the iOS developers, the testers. This is the team that really keeps the app running. So anything that goes wrong, anything that crashes, anything that happens to where someone can't listen to the music, those issues come through this team and we fix it. We also are the team that really is the core team that develops all of the new features and functionality. We collaborate with other groups, of course, but the developers, the engineers, the testers are really the biggest contributors to the technology that all of the Pandora listeners and users experience. Culture is so important to this company because I feel like the culture is what drives the ability to produce and perform. Because if people are comfortable with where they work and they feel like they fit in to what's going on, it just makes that person more motivated to work for you and be productive. And my position in that culture is really cultivating it and growing it and making sure that when people bring themselves to this office, specifically in the Atlanta office, that they're comfortable, that I work with, amazing folks like Danielle, who's always at the front with a big smile, ready to help people, but making sure that whatever I can do to help her, I do. Whatever I'm here to do to help with anything that the team needs here. And I think that creates a culture of collaboration. It creates a culture of friendship and family. It creates a culture of inclusiveness. And that is something that I really thrive on, because being inclusive and being at a place where you can, come in and feel comfortable doing your work almost kind of takes away the fact that it is work. You know, you're so comfortable and you're so happy with being here that, you know, it then becomes more of a hobby than work, even though it's work and it's something that you want to do versus becoming a cumbersome task on a day-to-day basis. So anything that I could do to support that. Very active with like our employee resource groups, executive sponsor for several of those aspects of the organization. So really I'm here to help them, whatever I can do to help them, and use my executive position to help move and shake anything that will benefit this location and Pandora in general is what I think my influence and ability to, you know, help shape the culture is.
She's a mentor to me, and she probably doesn't even know that she's a mentor to me. Her just being an African-American high-level executive here just means a lot to me. And, you know, her being a sounding board for me, as I'm somebody that's coming right up behind her. You know, I run the everyday operations of this office, and seeing her on the executive level doing those same things on a higher level, it's just awesome to watch her move. It's awesome to see that she has a voice here at Pandora. I love that. I love her influence here. She has just been an amazing voice for us here, and an amazing presence here. And it's good to know that she's here in our office where we can put our hands on her. You know, sometimes high-level executives, you don't ever see them. They may be traveling a lot. They may just sit in their office, but she's not one of those people. She's somebody that I meet with on a weekly weekly, monthly basis. She's always caring about stuff that I'm doing, and is very helpful to me as it relates to me doing operations. And it's just great that she can be a sounding board to me, but she can also be a mentor and somebody that I look up to. Just watching her move around, watching her meet with different other executives, just watching just her influence has just been awesome and amazing to me, and just her caring about me enough. Just me being the facilities person, her just sending her love to me and being there for whatever I need. She's awesome and amazing. As Vice President of Digital Product Development and Program Management, Monica Brown has learned to succeed in a field that has traditionally been dominated by men.
Getting to this level really takes what I call finesse. I've interacted with a lot of people who really want to check a box. Okay, I got my degree, check. Okay, I took this training class, check. And there's so much more that goes along with an executive or leadership career. You really have to learn how to have those conversations in the room with other executives. You have to be collaborative. You also have to be strategic and visionary, but you have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to actually physically be able to write an email or write, you know, so writing skills, communication skills, being collaborative, and also executive presence is something that is hard to explain. But if you're in a room with other executives and you're not comfortable, or you're not feeling confident, or you're not walking in trying to command the room, it's very noticeable. And if you want to be in an executive position, you have to know how to navigate yourself through those conversations and navigate yourself through those particular rooms, because if you're not able to do that, then it's going to be difficult for you to stay there. So there's a lot of soft skills, there's a lot of emotional strategy that has to go along with that, and learning those skills is not necessarily a lot that come in books. You really have to have perspective from other people, and you really have to have exposure. So in addition to really learning those softer skills, I would also say that finding a mentor would be one of the biggest things that I would recommend. If I didn't have perspective from other people who've already traveled that road to kind of say, okay, this is what's going to happen to you, here is how you react, I don't think a lot of the situations that I, eventually experienced, I would have been able to be as good, for lack of a better term, as I was, because I already had kind of like a precursor to what was going to happen. So I knew how to navigate through that. And having a mentor, regardless of what level, if you're entry level or even if you're top level, sometimes it puts you in check, is this the right thing to do? And I think that's really going to help out a lot if someone wants to get to this position. And the last thing I'll say is self-awareness. There's a huge benefit to being self-aware, because if you don't understand how you influence a room, or if you don't understand how you come across to other people, and you generate some sort of energy or some sort of feeling that could really change the dynamic of the entire conversation, especially in a negative way, then that's going to be definitely a difficult thing for you to navigate through. Being self-aware, understanding how you come across, and being able to truly evaluate yourself to say, did I do that right? Did I do that wrong? Maybe I said this the wrong way, let me do that differently. Versus what I see a lot is people will come in and they will say what they say, not really being conscious of how it's coming across, and then getting upset with the other person because they took it in the wrong way. You have to take ownership, and being self-aware and accountable for that is something that's going to take you further than a checkbox ever will. So if you put those things in place, it's a huge start, and I think it's going to really be the foundation to take you to the next level. So my individual journey, because I am an African American and I am a woman, I learned about culture and inclusiveness very early, because being a minority woman in corporate America, there are very few of us in the room. And then when you start to get to the executive level, those numbers tend to dwindle even more. So me being what I call double positive, I'm a woman and I'm also Black, especially in the diversity world today, I get to check 2 boxes for a lot of companies. But I didn't realize that initially, but I learned very quickly that that was a benefit. Because of that dynamic that I bring, you really understand that there are unconscious biases that come along with who you are, and I never wanted to evoke any type of discomfort to anyone else, understanding that I've experienced situations where just because I'm an African American female, you know, certain things were said or certain things were mentioned, or you know, little comments were made because of who I am. To me, that is the absolute wrong way to look at things, and because I think I represent a lot of what should be included in any culture, I've really gravitated towards making sure that I'm a more positive advocate for those types of situations. So my journey directly influenced that because of who I am, the God-given person that I was made. I literally didn't have a choice but to become an advocate because of who I am, literally. When you get to a certain level, you have a level of responsibility to the company, to your team, to your boss, but you also have a level of responsibility to your family, spending time with your family, spending time with your kids. So it is a deliberate and conscious thing that I have to worry about, because if I don't pay attention to it, I will end up spending all of my time at work, or I'll spend all of my time with family, and one of them is going to suffer. I can't say that in the past I've done a good job at that, because being on the climb and on the grind and trying to focus and get to that next level, you tend to really be in a mindset where you have to do these things and it has to be done late nights, early mornings, working on the weekends, sitting at the laptop. And then when you hear comments like, "Mom, you've been on that laptop all day, can I get some time?" Then it becomes real that you are not really focusing on your family enough. So that's the time you kind of close the laptop and say, okay, let's go to the mall, or let's do something, you know, so that you can spend some time. But work-life balance is a challenge, and it's very deliberate, and it's something that you have to focus on. Otherwise, one thing is going to sacrifice, and at this point in my career, I need both of them to be as balanced as possible. So it's a challenge, but it's doable, and I try to do my best. I'm not saying I'm doing a great job, but I'm doing an okay job. I do feel like I can relate to the Pandora listeners, and I do think that it helps with my job, because being able to relate to someone creates a passion, because it's almost like I can feel and understand what someone else is thinking or going through just by a song that they play. And you play a song and it's like, oh, you must be going through something. Or you play a song, it's like, okay, you must be happy today. What are you thinking about? So that passion creates the connection, which is why I feel like I can relate to Pandora listeners. And then I just have such a wide palette or variety of likes and interests when it comes to music. I don't just affiliate with just one. So pop, rock, R&B, jazz, classical, Zen music when I'm trying to go to sleep. Like it's so many different things that you can connect with, and music is a connection. It breaks language barriers. You can listen to a song. One of my favorite songs is Despacito. I don't know any of those words, I mean, what all of them mean, but I can recite every single line of Despacito if you play it right now. Music transcends language, it transcends culture, it transcends religion, it transcends sexual preference, it transcends everything. So being able to just be open to that and have a passion for it, you can absolutely relate to every single listener that is streaming a song on Pandora. Now recently we've had some additions to our walls. This is one that we just recently had added, and if you can see, it says "Don't Go Chasing." This is the Waterfalls, some TLC song, one of their top, actually I think the top selling song that TLC had. And a lot of the murals you'll see around the office are direct. There's a whole culture that we're trying to make sure that we pay homage to the Atlanta artists as well. So this is just one of many things that you'll see around the office to just show our love for all of the talent and the music that the Atlanta artists have brought to the world. TLC, we have our own Stankonia conference room, yay. A real favorite for the office. Hey, honey, how you doing? I'm good. So it's another conference room right here. So Chastain, I think everybody is familiar with Chastain Park. So that is a common theme. A lot of the conference rooms, all of the conference rooms are named after significant Atlanta music locations or an artist that was bred in the music industry here in Atlanta. Very good way to keep us connected to the culture. Musically, artists, it's just paying tribute to all the things that the Atlanta music scene has brought just to the world in general. So Chastain, Stankonia, we got it all. Right behind me, I mean, since we're in Georgia, you got the whole Georgia on my mind. Ray Charles, definitely had to do something for him, and that literally, along with all of them, honestly are one of my favorite murals that we have up here in the office. It really gives you a lot of life, and it's very exuberant to see all these colors and different tributes to all the artists here in the office. So thank you for coming. Please come back. I really enjoyed having you guys here. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. Go to AIBTV.com/donate to support programming like this. Your contributions may be tax deductible.